Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for listening in. We're here together with another episode for LAULIMA, introducing amazing practitioners and experts from all around the world. And today I'm very excited because I have with me Brigitte, who is someone who's also coming to the Global Online Summit we are having soon in September. And I'm really, really excited that you're joining, Brigitte. So thank you so much for that. We're going to talk about the summit as well. And we're going to talk about your offerings in LAULIMA and what else you're doing. But maybe let's start with a bit of a broader question. We also mentioned in the Global Online Summit that these are so difficult times for so many people, but also so exciting times we're in. And I mean, into astrology, and I can assume that in your work specifically, also you can feel, this transition. Sometimes I feel it's almost like a birthing process. So I would be just very curious how you are perceiving these times in this day. And obviously you can use also the moment to say hello and introduce yourself. But let's dive into this question maybe first. These times, what do you think are they about?
Beautiful. Thank you for having me. And it's such a pleasure to be joining this initiative. In terms of the times now, I think it's just such a powerful time, this time of a choice point. And for me, I'm calling it the timeline of truth. And I feel like if we follow that internal navigation system of what is my truth, we can simultaneously move through greater discernment of the lies that we tell ourselves. And of course, it's an internal reflection and external reflection. So therefore, the lies that are, weaved into our reality that we're here to clear. And what's exciting about that is once we come into our own personal truth through this navigation system, we begin to step into our power. And I think no matter what subject matter with regards to personal growth that you are looking at, your personal empowered state of being is going to move you forward and be the gas or the fuel in any vehicle of transformation. And the vehicle that I work with is the light body system, your spiritual path, etc., etc. For me, I feel these times, if you've got support, particularly through shadow work, because you cannot move to empowered states of being without going through the darkness of those truth or those portals of truth, right? So we've got to go through the sticky stuff. But once you come out of it on the other side, it's really an opportunity that, kind of readies us for stepping into empowered states of being. And what that looks like for each person is very different. So if you're on the entrepreneurial path and you're looking for new ways of giving and being in service to others, this can create an access point for you. If you are more spiritually focused and you're in that timeline of truth, what it can do is really catapult you beyond all the cognitive dissonance and beyond the just latching onto the stories of spirituality and enlightenment and accessing realms and data and information and opening your channel, but to really come to this point where you begin to do it because the time is now, because the polarized experience is so big and it's creating such tension that you may as well make a choice, and the choice point is now. So I think that's the beauty of where we're at. And of course, the difficult part is most people are so afraid of what their full power is, so there's all the beauty of the nourishment of all the different textures of reality constructs and all these things that we're moving through now. But it is an opportunity, and we could label it as a very difficult opportunity, but it's an opportunity nonetheless.
Oh, beautiful. I could listen to you already for hours. It's so beautiful, really, how you phrase everything. So let me just break it down for our audience. In the beginning, you said, and that's what I really kind of hooked on, is the question how we can use this time to stop lying to ourselves.
Yeah.
To let go of the lies we tell ourselves. And what I have been going through a lot in the past, and I mean, I've really worked a lot on myself already over the last 20 years, and still I caught myself that I was still subconsciously, or sometimes even half consciously maybe, telling myself lies, what I need or what is important or what I have to do. And it was really interesting that specifically over the last 2 or 3 months, I really had to come to a very more truthful way of being with myself also, and stop lying to myself what I actually need and should do in all of these things. So I really love that you bring this up, and for
Mm,
I think for the audience, the broader audience, so important to understand that this clearing process is, first of all, we need to become aware that we are actually lying to ourselves, that we have
sure.
belief systems, that we may have a system of society, that we have a, I don't know what else, a family system, a relationship system, all these things that we have built ourselves, and come to the point where we give ourselves the space to also ask the question, is that actually really my truth? Is that actually what I can say yes to with my whole body system? Or how do I learn what I can release and make space for something new? And where do I then find that alignment? So I would love to go with you in that a little bit, to help the people out there to understand what could be a process to actually recognize where am I and what am I lying about myself,
Mm.
and what are the tools that would help me to release and to find more alignment, or find the truth in myself.
Well, I think first, the first thing to look at, and this would be maybe a shocking answer, but is to look at stories. So storytelling. The storytelling of the stories we tell ourselves. So first you would create and you might need a practitioner to help you through this. But essentially, what are the stories you tell yourself? Then what are the stories around your family, your mother and father, the ancestral aspects? Then we move to these cosmic stories. What are the creation stories? And the creation stories will link to the indoctrinated systems around society, religion, educational systems, etc., etc., etc. So if we just look at the stories and then see what belief system is arising from those stories, from there we can really look at that core belief system and go, and then check in and whether there's any dissonance happening. And usually there is. So it's like, this story says yes, but there's something that is mismatching here. There's no resonant field anymore. And if there's no resonance to the story anymore, we've then got to look at the healing process. So this aspect of, there's a trauma that's sitting there that we now can identify, or we can move through identification of that trauma, and then move through the modalities that many, I'm sure, as part of this community know, move through somatic trauma release processes to release that trauma, come back to empowered state of being, re-look at the stories, re-look at the belief system, and then shift it from there through this new empowered state of being. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I think, I guess at this point I'll kind of allude to the fact that for me, I really look at the genesis of something, coming to the first cause creation of something. And when we're looking at sort of galactic history or cosmic aspects of our storyline, which again, most people in this day and age would have this link to the biblical storyline, our Christ storyline, even though our Earth's history through our time matrix is much, much older. But this is kind of a fixation point for ease of reference, and it's because it has been structured as so, right? And so we can look at this biblical timeline and then start to reference the things in our lives that we're doing. A very simple example is, how are we celebrating in the time of December? Because many spiritual people would be like, okay, cool, I'm learning about time, I'm learning about space, I'm in absolute understanding that time is not linear. I'm also in understanding that the Gregorian calendar, for example's sake, is a made-up thing by an institution. And yet I sit and I may move through these processes of quote-unquote celebration through the timeline that we call Christmas, right? And yet the whole entire thing is sitting uncomfortably within us, whether we are conscious of it or not. And many of us are conscious of it. So let's say, I say many of us, those listening to this level of transmission, and yet we still go through the mimicking process for being there for our families and not holding our boundaries strong in terms of our belief systems. So this is just one kind of easy example, but it's a big one, and through basically creating a boundary, also opening the throat and saying, actually, guys, this is nonsense for these reasons, and holding your personal power and reclaiming your sovereignty and your freedom through your own truth. So this is that timeline of truth. We can then, repair the dissonance in that moment. So that's a nice, easy example, but we know how much weight and how much energy a timeline like Christmas has, for example's sake. And we have these trigger events through history, like 9/11 is a complete trigger event every single time. We have many of these through our 12-month timeline. And these are just small examples. We obviously have our personal things as well. So it's coming to this recognition of also where we're not letting go. And then again, just observing the trauma there, healing the trauma, and then moving to empowered states of being, moving forward, head held high, going, this is uncomfortable, but oh my gosh, does it feel amazing to be in my truth?
It's really beautiful how you present it, because I feel that this really is what the time is about, is that we have the privilege because we are in a time where we can allow ourselves to live as free as we want. There's so many opportunities for us, where maybe 50 years ago or 100 years ago, it would have been so much more difficult for many of us. And now I see it almost not only as a privilege, but a responsibility, also an accountability to kind of clear these old stories. And obviously it starts with ourselves, but then it also comes to obviously family systems or communities or even maybe society. So we know that in so many directions, whether it's protests, whether it's like movements, there's so many things that are really showing up on the timeline saying it's enough. We're not believing in this anymore. We don't want to comply to this anymore. So I love that you bring this awareness and also the modalities that help us people to shift. So what would you say if like when we have the conference now, the summit, and we're speaking about purification, we're speaking about the time in like transition, and we're speaking about embodiment and integration. What do you think for people, if they listen to you on the summit, what would be something that you are bringing where people can actually dive in directly with you? So I know that you're offering a few different containers, and I'm very gladly part of one of those. So what are you bringing? What are the offerings that people could directly jump in? I know you do some breath work. You have some other offerings. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Beautiful. So essentially, I think the greatest gift that I have in this incarnation, in this timeline, in this now presence, is to hold space. I'm a really, really strong space holder based on my history with medicine work and the thousands of people that I've moved through these sort of deep spaces of energetic openings and initiations. And so it's really the space holding. It's not about the modality. And why my space holding has become stronger and stronger and stronger is because I'm now really beginning to understand the stories of creation. So it's creation mechanics. So I will be speaking to people about how to strengthen their space holding abilities through understanding creation mechanics within what I call a 15th dimensional time matrix. So that would be the quantum physics aspects, but then also how it really links to Christ consciousness and how we access those frequencies through activating the DNA. So I know within the summit, we have the first process of purging, clearing, healing, and then we've got activation and embodiment. So I'll sort of be speaking, I think, in this activating part of it, of like, how do we access to embody the frequency of Christ consciousness, and not as the man, but as an entire bandwidth of consciousness. So this is why, my ceremony spaces, yes, I do breath work that most people would say breathwork session. I run ceremonies. And the reason I use that word very specifically, because of course we know every word is encoded. Every word holds a frequency, and therefore it's got a different message to it. So when you're coming to any of my sessions, and I will be offering as, the free gift, will have a meditation where you can kind of explore what I mean by this accessing and the activating of these frequencies through my body. And I'll take you on a little journey there. And then the other offering is, the breathwork offering, where what I'm hoping for people to receive, because I'm assuming assumption is never good, but I am assuming intuitively that those of you that are coming online are interested in this work, have done and explored a little bit for yourselves. And so you'll have a personalized recording from me where I'm including the grid work of this time matrix into the recorded session, so that you for yourself can feel the frequency shift within a modality that you may already be very familiar with, like breath work. And you can do this for all of your modalities. We should be, as practitioners, from my perspective, of course, we all have free will, but if we're really creating this gateway and this bridge to bring the most crystalline and purest frequencies through, then this is a talk that you might be interested in. And like I said, the offering of the breath work will have that encoded in it so that you are feeling safe in this nervous system exploration, your trauma exploration, your power exploration, your sexuality exploration, all of it in order for you to kind of feel like, whew, that was something a little bit different. And because this is the feedback I get from my session work, and it's because of my training in, let's say, through the archetype of the shaman or medicine woman, I'm not limited to that anymore. We're working with much bigger concepts and aspects of consciousness. So we're really working with this dragon energy is what I call it. I hope that has answered sufficiently.
No, I love it. I love it. So what I
Beautiful.
really see, with what you're sharing is also I mean, we know that everything is connected anyways, and your energy will be infused in all your offerings. So even if people are listening to the meditation or the offering, it's infused by that. What I love is about the offering that people, I can maybe speak for myself. I realized over the last 2 months, I would say, 2 lunar cycles, that I really had to have space for myself. So I just talked to a friend the other day, and he said, he was going through a breakup. So also big change in his life. And he used the words, I learned how to hold myself, and I feel in this birthing process, we're all in this transition. What most of us lack is the
Yes,
time and space to actually go into these processes, even if it's just for ourselves, even if it's just a 10 minutes meditation every day, to check in with our own system and learn to listen again. What am I feeling? And is it really true or not true? And is it really serving me or not serving? I feel with the offerings you're bringing, this is really something that people will gain from it. They will have a routine and they will have an offering to really sit with themselves and learn how to listen. And on top, your frequency and your energy and the
yes.
container working with the consciousness field and the quantum physics and everything. But as a practice for people to start having the accountability for themselves as a practice, that
Correct.
if you want to change something, you need to start with yourself, and you need to start to bring a practice or have some space for yourself. Commit to a container where you will
Yes.
have you will have a group of people, because otherwise daily life and society and everything's catching up so quickly, and we can't get out of that anymore. So that's
Well,
why I
that's,
love, that even
yeah.
if people can't commit and join a container right away, but with your gifts, they will receive already something where they can start with themselves.
Yes. And I think this kind of links back to our original conversation, with regards to, like you said, the privilege of having time to do something for ourselves and the lies that we tell ourselves. It's like, I am this, and this, or I want to achieve this and this, but we don't give ourselves the time. Yet we actually do have the privilege of that in these kind of offerings. And so here we have a beautiful, beautiful moment to say, I'm catching myself in my lie. Here is this offering that is infused with this frequency that is timeless, because that's what I'm working with. So you might ask yourself, well, how if I am not there and it's just a recording, am I receiving? Well, again, beloveds, time doesn't exist. I'm working in a 0 point field. So there's literally no excuses, which is the awesome part of this. And I also just want to add that I will be giving a sort of document beforehand alongside the offering of the online breathwork to just really empower you with regards to the process and what to do, and also just preparation beforehand. So really to treat it like a ceremony and to treat yourself as if you're in your own personal private ceremonial rooms. I think it's, I don't often like to be in the room with people, but this is a pretty cool thing to have it for yourself, and of course, really explore and take accountability in the session work that I'm going to give, because it might be required. You might be
Yeah.
quite surprised at the process that you go through. Yes. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I can't stop saying beautiful because I feel it's so beautiful. It's really, it's really exciting for me, specifically because I have already been in the privilege and had the blessed opportunity to be in a space with you physically and really experience your art of space holding and experience also what happens in a field with others when, you set the intention, and
Mm.
it was an amazing, incredible experience. And I really would love everyone who's listening in and who's coming to the Global Online Summit to have this opportunity to receive your frequency, your offering, and
Mm.
then also have the opportunity to meet you. I know that you're traveling between Europe and South Africa and other countries. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for people to also find you somewhere physically. And
Yes.
I just wanted
Yes.
to highlight that even online containers and transitions can be real and amazing, but having
Yes.
you in a physical space for me was mind
Yeah.
blowing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really so. What do you feel like? What is the one thing? I mean, we have now almost said it already, but what would you say? What is the one thing that people can really gift themselves most in these times where, sometimes the anxiousness, the hopelessness comes through, which is also just a story. And how can they really, what can they do to feel more safe in their own bodies or in their own life timeline, however
Yeah.
you want to call it, besides having these opportunities with the summit and the offerings? What is it that you think is really crucial for people to start doing?
So this is weaved beautifully because my answer is to start with being honest with yourself. So we spoke
Mm.
to how does one hold themselves through a little bit of anxiety and the toughness of these times. So first, to be honest, hey, I'm in a bit of a difficult space. We seem to have this collective program that shames and guilts us into not being perfect, particularly and possibly within spiritual circles as well. So that would be the first one, is absolute raw honesty. The second is to communicate that to a close friend or someone. So not keep it secret, because keeping it secret will identify that you're in shame of this. And there's no need to have shame of this. So we're clearing so much at the moment to be in what we may describe as a disastrous,
Mm.
anxious, bordering psychotic space at points in time. It's okay. It is, based on what we're clearing, so natural. So that's the first one, is honesty, and then embracing, communicate that message to someone that you are not alone, and you are never alone. There is always someone out there. I would also say to rather communicate with a being, a personal biochemical interface with a heart, rather than the AI for support. That is something that I will be working on in the future. And anyone interested in deeper work with me, I go through this in what I call the Azurite Temple. I believe there will be details below. And that's for longer,
Yeah.
extended, deeper work with me. So, but in these processes, extend yourself out or share with a heartbeat, a person, a soul, your best friend, your mother, whatever it is, your practitioner. Yeah. And the third one would be breath work. I think, through these times we are going to and are going through so much data collection that we can mentalize and create quite a lot of chaos in the nervous system. So breath will become the one thing that you can trust. I know for myself personally, when I am in chaos mode, the one thing I can trust is my breath before nervous system stabilization occurs. And then I can trust my channel and my higher self again. And of course, this entire process requires time. So to gift yourself the presence of letting go of the things that you think you need to do. So again, this is where we enter into this aspect of honesty, of going, am I in dissonance because I'm in a healing process here, or I'm in a crisis mode, or I'm needing to clear something? And we've really got to let go of linear time and just drop into the process, surrender, knowing and trusting that the universal law is holding us, right? Your whole life may feel like it is depleting, that it's all dissolving, but you're still breathing at the end of it. So when your nervous system is regulated again and you've been honest with yourself, you've shared with someone, you've done some breath work, or, somatic release techniques. For me, I also use a lot of yoga. There's a lot being held in the fascia as well. So essentially, any nervous system regulation work is what's going to prime you to step back into your empowered state of being. This would be my answer to that. Yes.
So beautiful. I love it because it's also exactly what I would have said and what I'm doing for myself. I think
Yes.
nervous system regulation, breathing, I'm just reading a book about it and I'm so astonished again about this like technology and the wisdom of breathing in a real way, but
Yeah.
also everything, the body, body activation, somatic experience, and all of these things. I really, really believe in times in that we're in when technology in our lives is getting so stressful, the more we need these beautiful practices and
Yes.
the healing ceremonies of how to work with our bodies. So it's
Yes.
very, very. I think the one thing that I maybe can add to this is because we were speaking in the beginning about how am I actually becoming aware of where I'm lying to myself. How do I find my, and I feel as long as our bodies and our systems are not regulated, and that's probably many people know about the fight and flight and the freeze mode, but what we really learn is that as long as you are not being able to be present and still and sense with your body, you will probably not really recognize what's a lie that you're telling yourself because you need to
Correct.
feel it. Just as you're mentioning, breathwork and yogi and other things are really helping you to sense in and come into your body again and feel where you are not speaking your truth. So
Correct. Yes.
I really love that. And I'm very, very excited. Is there anything else you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, I think I just kind of mentioned it if anyone is interested in deeper work with me, because, I guess under the umbrella term of spirituality, we have many different modalities that we can learn from and through, and that provide us beautiful nodules of, access to parts of our consciousness that have been fragmented through the God code, and that we're attracted to naturally. But those deep dive souls that really want to understand the mechanics, grid work, planetary grid work, Christ consciousness technology, and to move away from, I guess we could say, the fluff. Anyone that's interested in that, you might be interested in my longer term work. And yes, ultimately my leaving message is please enjoy the breath work. And also, if anyone has any questions for me after their experience or at any point in time, I love to receive feedback because this is how we learn. So yes, enjoy it.
Thank you so, so much. Yeah, we will put some details in the caption so that people can reach out to you as well directly. And obviously come on to the Global
Yes.
Online Summit Wolf, where people will see you also speak and where we also will gift the free meditation for people who participate. So make sure that you sign up. Make sure that you sign up now so you have your reservation of the spot, and you will receive a few days before you will receive the details about how to join, and then also receive the gifts after the summit. And yeah, I'm really excited that you're going to be part of that. And I'm looking forward to meet many, many people who are coming to the space with this intention and this commitment to themselves to really level up and see how we can together create a better future for all of us together. So thank you so, so much for being here, Brigitte, and coming to the Global
Thank
Online
you.
Summit. Thank you
Thank you
everyone
so
else
much.
yes, and leave us your comments or feedback if you have any. We are looking forward to hearing from you, and make sure to sign up for the Global Online Summit.